Hi, Karina. So we were so straight back into it with some kind of what I suppose you might call partial chords or chord shells, right? Where it's not, let's say, this A major here. Instead of doing this, the whole chord, we're just taking the bass note and the third. Okay. Now the fact that it's the third is important because if the third is raised, it's major, and if it's lower, it's minor. Okay. So we were just talking about how to replace full chords with those kind of partial ones. So because it gives you a nice kind of gentle tone, and sometimes a big full chord like that can be just a little bit much for whatever it is you're looking to do. So we just went through a couple of examples, right? So this is basically the formula, right? Now keeping in mind that these shells are all based on either E major or minor, or and in which case we're going to be on this string with the bass, or they're on A major or minor, in which case we're going to be on the A string, right? So keep in mind, right? So you've got the E major shape. You can bring that up anywhere with a bar chord. Okay. Now, so if I want to make that minor, I bring this one down to the same fret as the uh, bass note. Because that's what you would do with an E minor. Like the bass note is here on the open string. So if you want it minor, you have this string, the G string, also on the open. And if you want it major, you're bringing a fret up from that bass note. So if you're here, then if you want a G minor, let's say, you could do this. You could do the full chord, of course. But for this case, this is what we're going for: a minor chord on the E string, right? So on the E string, you're going to be holding the G string on the same fret if it's minor, and one fret above if it's major. On the A string, because now we're dealing with an A minor chord, so there's the bass note there on the open, and to be minor, it's one fret up, and there's A major, and for it to be major, it's two frets up, and now both these thirds are on the B string now, okay? So, for example, C, so there's a C note, okay? And as I said, the more you count up here, like, so if you want to know, I want a C chord, or let's better example, a D chord. If you want to find that on either string, right now you have to kind of count up bit by bit by bit. But the more you do that, you won't have to do that for long. You'll just know. So for example, um, obviously, so for example here, there's D on the A string. So if you want a D major, because we're on the A string and it's major, we're going up two frets. Okay. Now let's say we're up here doing the exact same thing. Now there's the D on the E string, and we want it major. It's here. One fret above now because we're on the E string, okay? And if you want it minor, you go down to the same fret. So one more example then. Let's say G major, C major, E minor. Whichever we could do anything. So two choices here with the G. We've got, if we're on the E string, we're going to be coming up E, F, no F, there's no E sharp, so straight to F, F sharp, G. And we've got a major, we're on the E string, so we're coming up one fret, just like that E major shaped chord, okay? So there's the G. Now let's say we wanted it higher than that. So the obvious thing to do is put the chord, or put it on a higher string, which is the A string. So now because G is just behind A, we know there's no point in kind of counting from here, because we know on the 12th fret, that's an A note as well. So there's A, G sharp, G. Now this is major, and we're on the A string this time, so we're coming up on the B string two frets above. There's our major shell there. So on to C next. There's a C note, A sharp, B, C. Okay, we're on the A string, and it's a major chord, so we're two frets up. There it is. Then E minor. Now there's an E minor or an E note on the bass on the open E string. Okay, then because it's minor and we're on the E string, we want it on the same fret, so we could just do that. Open E string, open G string. Or we could go, this is also an E string, so we could just do it up here. Or we could do, probably the most practical thing would be to do it on the A string there. So there's an E note on the A string. Now this is on the A string and it's a minor, so we're going 1 fret up. And there it is. Okay, so summary. If your bass note is on the E string and it's a minor, you want it on the same fret. If it's a major, you want it 1 fret up. If your bass note is on the A string, if it's a minor, it's 1 fret up, and if it's major, it's 2 frets up. And as I said, that's because the reason it's different, it's not the same position for both bass strings, is because of how the B string is tuned. Most of them are match the 5th fret, but the B string matches the 4th fret of the previous string. So you have to compensate for by bringing it up by 1 fret. So have a look, see, explore around. There's all different combinations you could do, and a lot of them don't work, but a lot of them work really, really well. But if you base it on a chord progression that it sounds good, then you can be guaranteed it'll work. So see what you can come up with that. See what you can come up with that. All right, see you next time.